Let's do this. Welcome to the fourth winning list video. This one is featuring Jacob Whitehouse, who won the reminders.
The Wednesday Warfare, the Carnage one, 26 plays.
Yeah, that was my own event. So
And
that's how we got. Yeah. Well done, Jacob, for winning our event.
It was very memorable.
Yeah. With his Tau Retaliation Cadre detachment. So without further ado, let's fire into the list. Here we go. Jacob, take us away.
So, south in the characters, we've got Commander Shadowsun. She's my warlord. Just a great all-round character. Then we've got two commanders. One of them's a Cold Star, and one of them is an Enforcer. The Enforcer did have the enhancement, the Starflare ignition systems. Essentially what that means is it allows the Crysuit unit every turn, well, at the end of your opponent's turn, it allows you to pick his unit up and put them into reserves, which is really good. It just allows them to be a lot more mobile than what they normally are. And then finally, we've got Dark Strider. 12-inch Deep Strike Deny, just an amazing utility piece for 60 points. So yeah, that finishes off the characters. Then we've got 3 units of Crysuits. So I haven't actually used Crysuits in the new book yet. So I essentially just chose one of each. So we've got the Fire Knife, the Star Scythe, and the Sunforge. So the Sunforge is the anti-tank ones with the melters. Then the Star Scythe is the one with all of the burst cannons, so tons of strength 5 shots. And the Fire Knife is the one with all of the missiles. There we go.
Yeah.
Whoa. And then after that, we've got a Ghost Keel, a Lone Op. Then we've got 2 Hammerheads, just amazing anti-tank. 1 unit of Pathfinders, 3 Riptides. They're the backbone of the list. The mid-table brawlers, just a good, tough, and reliable output. And then 2 units of free stealth, just to give rerolls to increase efficiency.
Nice. So
nice. Okay.
This actually was your first time running the Retaliation Cadre at an event, wasn't it? Because you've been using Montcar and Carrion a little bit as well.
Yes. So Carrion is my favourite detachment, as we spoke about in the other video.
So was this just like a trial and error?
Yes. So essentially, I saw that the new rules are coming out for the new missions, and I just wanted to try it before we could be rewarded for taking lots of battle line potentially. So obviously there is no battle line in this list, and as I said, I'd never tried Crysuits before this in a tournament, so I just wanted to try them out, see how they were for any points changes potentially.
Yeah. Can I just say as well, the Starflare ignition system where you can pick them up every turn?
Yes.
That works amazingly with the 3-inch deep strike stratagem, right?
Yes, it's very, very, very silly.
Just got 3 crisis suits coming down, 3.1 away, anywhere they want. Absolutely.
One of the key points of the list is the 3-inch deep strike. Because obviously the detachment rule being if you're within 12 you get +1 strength, if you're within 6 you get +1 AP. So on things like the burst cannon unit, being able to drop down and have just from the 3 Crysuits alone 36 strength 6 -2 AP shots because they increase their AP by 1 is absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, and can you give them ignore cover as well?
If you spot, yes, with marker lights, yeah.
Woo.
So we're saying just you can reliably delete a unit a turn.
Yeah,
quite easily.
We'll go into one of the games, but I'm for 100% after this tournament. The burst cannons are probably one of my favorite units.
Nice.
Yeah.
So why?
Yeah. So with this list, do you usually take tactical, or do you have like a set of secondaries that you usually take with this list?
So I guess it always depends on the opponent's list, right? Because deploy is the easy one to do. And then the second one depends on what your opponent does or has. To be honest, Tau are a very good tactical scoring army anyway. Obviously, I know I don't have that many units, but with the Ghost Keel, the Pathfinders, the 2 units of Stealth, and Dark Strider, I still have a fair amount of pieces to do those missions, the tactical side, and then obviously I can secure objectives and get the kills with the free and steep strikes and the crisis suits and obviously the riptides. So
nice.
They're infiltrate as well, aren't they? All four are all four of those units infiltrate.
The Ghost Keel is.
The Ghost Keels, the Pathfinders, and the 2 units of Stealth and Commander Shadowsun all infiltrate.
All infiltrate.
So there is a lot of infiltrate in the list. Yeah.
Do you have scout moves as well, or?
Yes. So the Pathfinders, the big 10-man, the a move that I like to do is essentially most of the time is choose a side of the board that I'll probably want to swing around into my opponent's deployment zone. And what I'll do at the start of the game is I'll use the Pathfinders to essentially secure that part of the mid board to ensure that they don't put any infiltrates in the mid board. And then by doing that, the Pathfinders have scouts, so they could scout back behind a building and be safe, but still guarantee the initial pressure of the Pathfinders. And then afterwards, the Riptides can push in and the free and deep strike suits to ensure that I can take that flank.
Excellent. So you've got you got from deployment, you've got a really good board control already, and already a really good idea of where you're going to be going throughout the battle rounds. Excellent. Okay, so let's move on to the rounds then. So round 1, you had Blood Angels. Sons of Sanguinius was the detachment. I don't know much about that detachment, but
this was a tough round actually to get paired into Jeff round 1. He's been on a bit of a run with these Blood Angels. I know that he run a similar list at one of our events recently and won it and scored. It didn't drop a point. He scored 300 points. So it was a tough one for round 1. He's a good player.
Yes. So essentially, the Sons of Sanguinius getting the +2 strength and the +1 attack on the charge is really good for things like in the list we can see. So we had the 3 units of assault intercessory jump packs. So just the absolute, for 80 points, a unit having so many attacks, because obviously they've got chainswords. So I think they have 4 attacks base, going up to 5 with Sons of Sanguinius. So their strength 6 on the charge, -1 AP, which when you can give them lance and lethals for 1 CP, their output from just an 80-point unit is insane. Same as it's ridiculous. Also, he does have certain anti-tank threats for my list, because obviously the 3 Riptides are, as I said, the backbone. So having the Predator Destructor, the Gladiator Lancer, and the Vindicator is 3 really good anti-tank pieces that he can use against me.
It's good shooting back.
Yes, so my view going into the game was to essentially clear those pieces, because yes, the Assault Intercessors and the big 10-man Vanguard brick is good, but they will still struggle to hit up into things like a Riptide. So my initial thoughts on seeing the list was, if I can pick up the vehicles, then the game will be a lot easier for me.
Yeah, that makes sense. So how did this go then? How did it start?
It was, we played it very cagey, because essentially I had to heavily respect the Vanguard veterans and the line of sight that you could potentially get with some of the tanks. So he, on one side of the board, he moved up his Vanguard veterans onto his objective where he can hide them.
The one on the left there.
Yes, so he moved them up into that L. And so essentially what I did, and as I already said about the Pathfinders, so I just secured my side from the initial deployment, and then put a Ghost Keel on that objective as well. And so then from that, I essentially just swung round and said, yes, cool, you can have that side with your 10 Vanguard veterans, but my entire army is going to go on the other side. And so I did still screen with things like Dark Strider and a Hammerhead, but just respected his ranges, because the one downside that Sons of Sanguinius has that Gladius doesn't is they have no access to advance and charge. So if I stay outside of the 24, then there's no way that you can get the charge. So what I did essentially is made sure that I could hold my home field just to guarantee the primary, and then I swung on one side. And so in one turn, I hate doing it, but I actually deep struck all 3 units of suits in one turn, just to essentially cripple the flank that hard that it was guaranteed mine. Obviously, he still had some punchback, but essentially on that side of the board, because I managed to pick up the Vindicator with a Riptide, was the only things that were a threat was Gabriel Seth's unit, because Gabriel Seth, just by a character by himself in Sons of Sanguinius, goes up to like 7 attacks at strength 10, I think. That's like almost like maybe flat 3 damage. So it could genuinely go into a Riptide and kill it. So my thoughts were, if I can kill Gabriel Seth on this side of the board, then this side is mine, and then I just have to use the screening units from there on to secure this side of the board. And essentially, that's what I did.
Nice.
I did. So the output of the list was very high. Essentially, whatever came out in the open, I just nuked. And a lot of, so obviously this detachment has fire and fade. So a lot of plays with the pick up and drop down suits later on, but initially it was just a basic unit, is stealing his home field primary so that he can only score 5. And so that's where I won the game, is through the primary, because I was denying him down to 5 primary every single turn.
Question.
Yeah.
Can you 3-inch deep strike fire and fail after it?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So essentially, on a lot of the turns, like he would put, so for example, one turn he had a Lancer and he had an Impulsor with a squad of Assault Incest inside, and I was like, this is going to be tricky. So I had to shoot the Impulsor with my Hammerhead, pop the Impulsor, and then my suit brick that dropped down shot, instead of shooting the Lancer, I knew the Lancer might be able to pick up a couple suits, but I just accepted it and shot the unit of Assault Incestors. They weren't a threat, but it meant that I could then clear him off that objective because he screened me. And we were talking about before I shot, he was like, if you just shoot this, I'm going to screen you, right? And I was like, well, you wait and see. So my Hammerhead killed the Impulsor, and then the suits picked up the squad, and then I fire and faded onto it. And I did that about 2 turns in a row, I think, to drop him to a 5 primary. So yeah.
Yeah, nice. So this was 95 to 80. So then couple of turns of dropping the primary.
Yeah, it was literally, I scored, I think, I'm how many points? Was it 95, was it?
95 to 80, yeah.
Yeah. So I dropped 1 turn of primary because I had to abandon an objective at one point just so that I could guarantee not getting charged. But also, the 15 points was me stealing that. We worked it out at the end of the game. Yeah.
So did you take tactical or pick?
So I took tactical. Yeah, took tactical. As I said, the list is still really good at scoring it. And yeah.
Nice.
Okay, cool.
Excellent.
Right, let's move on to round 2 then. And we had Sisters, Hallowed Martyrs detachment.
Yes.
This was search and destroy deployment. Mission was taken hold. So yeah, talk us through this one.
Nice balanced list, lots and lots of scoring, 3 Paragons, only 1 Castigator, more than Val. No Triumph?
No Triumph in this one, yeah.
Which is weird,
so,
but they have a lot of good options anyway.
Yeah, so me and the opponent were speaking before the game, and it was kind of that thing of kind of analysing your opponent's list and finding the points that are going to be able to cripple the key units that are going to be able to cripple your army and ensure that you can either screen them out and avoid them or be able to kill them. And so the threats to me were essentially his transports, being able to move behind buildings and then launch his units out, and also the Castigator and Val. Scary. Yeah, and obviously the Retributors. Anti-tank is not my friend. So yeah.
Surprising that with you being all vehicles.
What? That's crazy. So essentially, in deployment, so we were speaking. I'm always like very open when I play my games, and we were speaking, me and my opponent, and so one thing that I noticed after we'd both deployed is that he put 2 rhinos and his immolator essentially on the line, put the immolator in the middle, out in the open, and then the 2 rhinos, one at the very top of his deployment zone on the line, and then the other one, So there's one there, one just above it on the line, one just above it on the line, and then one just below that again on the line. And so essentially, what it allowed me to do turn one was, because I have the two hammerheads, which its favorite food is rhinos. Essentially, what it allowed me to do, because I went first. So obviously, he probably deployed more of an aggressive way to be rewarded if you went first. But what it allowed me to do by going first was pop both rhinos, pop the immolator, and he also put a penitent engine. So I popped all three and a penitent engine turn one, which
it's not a bad start, is it?
Oh, sorry, and I killed his castigator.
Oh my god! That's a rough turn one for the sisters.
Yes, because essentially, one hammerhead shot at the castigator, another hammerhead shot at the immolator, and
they do just bang vehicles, don't they?
I've got a lot of heavy firepower in the list, and picking up all of those on turn one, it wasn't game because his list can still score very well, but it was it swung very hard in my favor.
He was on the back foot for the rest of the game.
He was always going to struggle after that.
And so essentially from there, I just had to respect the ranges of certain things of the Repentia. So essentially, just asking the opponent how far they can move, if they can advance and charge, just ensuring to be out of the max range. Then it was just a case of deep striking the suits. Again, the pick up and place crisis suits played an amazing role. So they shot and killed a full squad of Repentia, then they got picked up and shot and killed a full squad of sisters on the backfield, and then my Pathfinders actually ran onto the backfield. Then I picked them up again, and Celestine's unit started to be a problem, so then they came down and cleared that unit. Like, the pick up and place is just insane. It's so good.
Very, very good. When it's got that much firepower. I remember playing against it the other week, and it was really rough to deal with.
And what was the score?
This was big. This was 100 to 41.
Okay.
So
a bit of a
in my opinion, it was the initial first turn that just swung it so far in my favor that just allowed me to get that one.
He took a big risk deploying his vehicles there, hoping to go first. Which you have got sometimes. You have got, sometimes you've got to do that.
100%. Like, if at the end of the day, it could have, if he went first, it was a different game.
I was going to ask that.
Like, obviously, I still had screens in place to ensure that he wouldn't have been able to do anything, and he wouldn't have been able to make any key charges turn one. And so essentially, it would have probably been it would have probably affected the score. But I think because we talked about it afterwards, maybe you should have deployed differently. But we both agree that the result would probably have been the same, just because the thing about sisters is into Tau, their vehicles are key. They're a big thing. Also, obviously, some of the units that can wrap me up that are really hard to clear, like Arcos. And so, obviously, lacking those, it was going to be a hard game regardless for him.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okie dokie. Let's
move on to round 3 then,
To round 3, the winning game. Interestingly, Drukhari. Sky Splinter Assault Detachment. I love to see that. I love to see that Drukhari are on the top tables. It's brilliant.
Honestly,
because they're a hard army to play.
Yes.
Here we go. So it was Purge the Foe. So kill one, kill more.
Which already going into it was very bad for the Drukhari player. Because lots of MSU, and one thing that I forgot to mention. So the list, so the Riptides and the Hammerheads all have indirect shots. It's only Strength 5, but against the T3 army, when those Strength 5 shots are also twin linked, it matters big time. So in the list, I've got 21 Strength 5 twin linked indirect shots. which
Out.
it
Which hoovers up the incubi and mandrakes like they're
so
nothing, pretty much.
so what he did, so essentially he has 5 venoms, and in those he put all his characters. So essentially Archons all got attached to the incubi, they went in venoms. Lilith got attached to the witches, they got split into venoms, and then one unit of 5 Cabalites obviously got split and put into the venoms. Essentially, again, going into this list, so I've been looking at playing Drakari, and even incubi, yes, they've got a lot of attacks and they do have full rolls hit and wound, but they're only strength 4 lance. So going into a Riptide, even with lance, you're wounding on 5s, and then I've got a 4-up save. So it's really rough. So essentially, going into the game, again, it's just the analysis of the list. So the things that were scary were the Scourges and the Ravagers. And so I won the deployment roll-off, and like I said last time, I put the Pathfinders straight down the middle, and putting them all within 7 of my small middle L, just allowing me to fully screen the mid-board, but then if I go second, they can all scout back into that building. So I'm blocking the middle for free, essentially. So I'm not paying any units to do so. And yes, he could potentially charge with something turn 1, but it's a resource that he'd have to throw away to do so. And so, And
what was the score on this one?
This was another big one, 100 to 44 in the end. It's a rough matchup, I think. Like Jacob was saying there, his only anti-tank is the 3 Scourges and the Ravagers, and everything else is going to struggle. And then obviously the kill 1, kill more missions is going to suck for him, right?
So the Scourges, I assume he did what a lot of Drakari players are doing, which is just hide them in the big L at the back, and then essentially just pop them up, shoot, pop them back again, right?
So he didn't, because we talked about this before the game. So if he put them there, all of them, and he poked them out and then fire and faded back in, I could potentially move Riptides far enough to get the indirect to be able to get in range and shoot them, and for free. So he put one of them in there. He put the Haywire, which in my opinion I think was the mistake. So and then he put the other 2 5 units in each ruin, one in the big, one in like the medium L, and then one in the smallest L. And so essentially what happened was my big unit of these burst cannon crisis suits. So essentially what they did was they dropped down, and what it allowed me to do was pick up both units of those 2 Scourges with the Dart Lancers. So we had 2 units of Dart Lancers, 1 unit of Haywire. And then also, one mistake that I think he made is, so he obviously tried to screen the backfield, but by doing so, he kind of exposed a Ravager. So what it meant was, very early in the game, I picked up the 2 units of Scourges with the long range, with the Dart Lancers, because Haywire is only 24 inches. And then I picked up a Ravager as well. He did then poke out the other Ravager and picked up my Hammerhead. But in this matchup, it's doing nothing other than killing his transports. Killing the transports, killing the vehicles. So I didn't care. And so essentially, by turn, I tabled him turn 3. Was it the match where your crisis suits came down, split fired, and every crisis suit killed a unit? So my unit of burst cannon crisis suits dropped down 3 inches in his backfield, and I said, you know what? It's funny, why not? And so it was it was a 3-man and then a commander. And essentially what I said, so he had 2 units of Cabalites, 2 units of Mandrakes, and a unit of Witches with Lilith. And I went, cool, the commander's going to go into Lilith's unit, and then one of each crisis suit is going to shoot all of its guns into one different target. And I picked up every single target I shot at.
But the thing is, I used to play Drakari, and I feel this pain, because that's not really hard to do either. That's not a hard thing to do.
That's the thing, because they're all strength 6 -2. So it's like, cool, I've got a 6-up save. I guess I'm going to cry.
It is. They've all got 1 wound each. It's 5 dice. It's 5 dice against how many are coming out of a burst cannon battle suit.
Picture these crisis suits with giant Dyson hoovers just hoovering up loads of elves.
It was just horrendously rude. And yeah. And essentially, after I did that, my opponent, like we were having a bit of a laugh anyway, because but after that happened, he wasn't the happiest of chappies.
I'm not surprised.
That's the thing with these t-shirts, Save Dark Elves. I remember it vividly from 9th edition.
You've got PTSD.
I do. I 100% do. It's awful, but the game can change in a single turn. You can lose half your army in a single
You've got
turn.
to respect everything, like even down to a storm bolter. When
a single. Seriously, so, you honestly have to just even a rhino pulls into your backfield with a storm bolter on it. You've got, you could lose a scoring unit.
Pants.
You could lose a scoring unit. You do. It's horrible.
Guess that's my army gone.
Yeah.
So did you enjoy the Retaliation Cadre then? I know you said you wasn't like 100% happy on the list and you prefer the others, but you got an event win with it. Would you use it again? What do you think?
Personally, after playing it, I don't mind it. I just personally don't think it's my play style. So I prefer Cayun. Always will. Montca as well, with everything having assault, is very nice. Obviously, it took a slight hit in the new thing where assault doesn't let you do actions, but still being able to shoot with those key pieces that shouldn't normally be able to shoot and move that quick is still amazing.
Was it nice having rules for 5 turns for once, though?
Yeah, I know, right? I got to play before turn 3. It was crazy. I was like, what's this? But no, it was fun. I liked being able to use Christ suits because I hadn't used them in ages, and they're the reason why I played Tau. So yeah, no, I did like the list and it was fun. Yeah.
Cool.
Excellent.
Well done. Right. Congrats on the win.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, very, very well done, Jacob, and thanks so much for coming on and talking through that event with us. It was brilliant. Hopefully it helps other Tau players and anyone who runs these sorts of lists against Tau. So yeah, okay. Well, that's it from us. I'll just skip on to the plugs. So our up and coming events, we've got our biggest RCT of the year, 44 players in Home Firth. So you can grab yourself a ticket for that. There is the link to the website in the description. We've also got an RCT in Sheffield the month after, slightly smaller at 32 players. That's held at the Outpost. So always a great venue. We absolutely love it there. That's where we run our midweek events as well, and it's just great. We've also got the tattoo t-shirts available on our website. We've currently got a limited selection, but they're all made by real people, and they are every time we sell one, we pay the artist directly, so they get paid per t-shirt instead of them just getting an upfront payment or whatever. If you enjoyed this video, please like us and subscribe. These videos can only get better if you do that, so we can increase the quality of these videos by helping creating better visuals and things. We can't do that unless you like and subscribe, so go and do that. I know it sounds like a cliche, it's because it is, but it genuinely helps, and I haven't started this, it genuinely helps, so please do like and sub. All right, fellas, thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye, guys. Bye.
See ya.